Have you realized that accusations of Afrocentrism are thrown at you immediately once you say ancient Egyptians were Africans or melanin-dominant human beings? Those who deny this fact indicate psychological protection mechanisms. They employ this to sustain a version of history that suits their current status. Europeans, pale Arabs, and many others that are of colonial and racist attitudes thrive on a worldview constructed around seeing blacks as inferior. But once if it is proved that ancient Egyptians were melanin-dominant Africans, Negroid, or black people, brown people, their world collapses, and psychologically they cannot allow that to happen. But why then is it important for you to be an Afrocentric? Why should you adopt an Afrocentric paradigm? Why should we embrace it? We will share some reasons in our conclusion, but first we want to say there is a book that we know will raise your vibrations very high. We know it is a book. It's worth your investment and your time. You can order this book from our website, marifado.com, or you can also go to Amazon and order No More Masters. It's a great book. Those that deny black genesis of ancient Kemet or Egypt use several tools. These are mass deception tools. These are propagated as alternative truths or as facts or as history. These are like the Nubian slave hoax, the Saharan racial divide, the Bantu race, the Sub-Saharan Negro stereotype, the North out of Africa theory, the white North Africa. But here is the truth. Afrocentric thinking is an intellectual tool, a cultural and philosophical framework that centers African people, their history, their values, and the worldviews as the primary lens for understanding our experiences as indigenous people, not only in Africa, but all over the earth. So it's a pan-Afrocentric approach. You can put another word there, but that is how we have to view it. It was developed by Molefe Kente Asante in the 1980s, a center point to decolonize thought, educate. There are hard-hitting Afrocentric truths that can never be wiped off. Like when you look at Champollion here, with his left leg on one of our king's heads, a great king Ramasase. What is he saying there? He's actually demonstrating that they've defeated us. He cannot do that if they were his ancestors. So this is a hard-hitting Afrocentric truth that they are giving us free of charge. So ancient Kemeticians or ancient Egyptians, as taught by Champollion in his work, Egyptienne Anciente, he said that they were of Nubians, came from Nubia, or which today we can say Kush or Abyssinia or Ethiopia or Sudan, South Sudan, between South Sudan, Uganda, the Congo, and Central African Chad. That's where they came from. The Copts, they tell us, are the result of crossbreeding with all the nations that successfully dominated Kemet. It is wrong to seek in them the principal features of the old race. That is what Champollion is teaching and saying. There is an archaeological record. We can go into details because that's Egyptology, thrives on archaeology of digging up our ancestors. But if you go and find this PDF by Dr. Maria Camela Gatto of Yale University, it's called The Nubian Pastoral Culture as a Link Between Egypt and Africa, a View from the Archaeological Record. There it is. She says it's common that there's to see strong ties with the Nubian pastoral nomadic lifestyle. The same pastoral background commonly shared by most of Asian Saharan and modern Sub-Saharan societies. Thus, it cannot be denied that Nubia or the Sudan or South Sudan, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, those areas, that's where the ancient Kemeticians came from. There is a common sense approach, which is very straightforward. Egypt is in Africa. There was no Middle East. There was no Asia. Asia was known as Eastern Ethiopia. Africa covered the whole earth. Ancient Egyptians were Africans. Their armies indeed defended Africa, the red line. We have said that many times. Opponents cannot produce a single shred of evidence of Caucasian or Europeans or Asiatic people defending Egypt or Kemet. These people Europeans, Asians, Arabs were always invading, coming from outside, crossing the red line and invading. The defenders of Ancient Kemet were her own very people. Egyptians knew their origins, that they were melanin-dominant Africans, Bantus. The original images of the ancient Egyptians, which they left for us to look at, specifically like the Sphinx, proves that they were melanin-dominant human beings. They were woolly haired, represented by many cultures today that we are showing there. They left statues that are clear. The Sphinx, a timeless symbol of ancient Egyptians' origins, Kemeticians' origins. It challenges any modern perception of their race and their legacy. That Sphinx, you can't argue against that, and it will clear the fog. I won't waste my time arguing with mulattoes that came later. When the evidence overwhelms them, and when the evidence overwhelmed them in the past, they went ahead disfiguring and destroying and smashing artifacts. Usually they chopped off the noses so that they disfigured them and disempowered them. This is clear, straightforward. You don't need to go to university to understand this. This Afrocentric approach is also supported by what some Asian scholars actually wrote in their records. It's clear that they knew what the ancient Egyptians looked like. We consider Hesiod. We want to start from the most ancient time, 850 to 800 BCE. We know there is a lot of debate that Greeks at that time, they didn't have the alphabet because they had not come to Kemet. But let's read what Hesiod said, or supposed Hesiod wrote. To the lands of the Masagatai and of the proud half-dog men, of the underground folk and of the feeble pygmies, and the tribes of boundless blackskins and the Libyans. Hesiod here catalogs of women, boundless black skins. It refers to Egyptians and Ethiopians. It's clear that Hesiod distinguishes the Libyans from boundless skin tribes, and it is also evident that he was referring to the Egyptians and Ethiopians as boundless black skin tribes of Africa. But Hesiod also says the Libyans were dark-skinned and they're not like white Europeans. So when you say the Berbers and all that other stuff, you're just telling fibs. From Kronos sprang the dark Libyans and the high-souled Ethiopians. That's what he thinks. When you read also Aeschylus describing the Kemeticians or the Egyptians, he says, I can see the crew with their black limbs and white tunics. He wrote this 500 BCE. Apollodorus, who wrote 180 to 120 BCE in his book 11, Family of Inachus, he said Egyptos conquered the country of the black-footed ones and named it Egypt. So when he said that, he is proving that the black-footed was Kemet before it was named Egypt. We go to Diodorus Siculus, 90 to 30 BCE. In many of his works and many of his writings, he says, they say also that the Egyptians were colonists sent out by Ethiopians, Ausari having been the leader of the colony. All goes to say, the larger part of the customs of the Egyptians are they hold Ethiopian, the colonists still preserving their ancient manners. Diodorus Siculus also states that before foreign rule, all Egyptian kings were natives, and the land was the most prosperous of the whole inhabited world, proving that they were natives, not foreign invaders. The Ethiopians, as historians relate, were the first of all men to worship the gods in pompous ceremonies. They were autochthonous. They came out of the earth. The proof of this statement is that they are manifest, for that they did not come into their land as immigrants from abroad, but were natives. In other words, born by the soil into their lands. All over Africa. This is very, very important to understand. Diversity. Let's look at Ammianus Marcellinus, 325, 350, 330 AD. This is after and during the Nicene Creed, and also before the Pale Arabs and the Turkish invasion occurred. Ammianus Marcellinus says, the men of Egypt are mostly black all brown with a skinny, desiccated look. He wrote that in his book too. When we look at this, we also find that the populations of the Negroid individual is predicted to have had brown eyes, brown hair, and skin pigmentation ranging from dark to black skin. Remember the diversity. DNA diversity, genetic diversity is only found amongst Africans, where you can find every race amongst Africans. This is very, very critical. So, we can see again here, when our civilization started, you have been told that Sumer, that is all a lie. Sumeria is not even close to what ancient Egypt started long back, thousands of years of years ago. Not these Anunnakis that you have been told, they are the oldest and so forth. It's not like that. In a rare but very, very important condemnation, the Fitzwilliam Museum admitted that not only does Egyptology have a European bias, a European angle, but that bias and angle distorts anyone who follows it when it comes to understanding the earliest human civilization. Their understanding is erroneous if you use Egyptology. As they put it, this Fitzwilliam Museum, they say people mainly look at ancient Egypt through a European bias. This is because the majority of books on Egyptology are written by researchers of European or North American backgrounds, by people that have a Christian, Islamic, Jewish mentality. I know that. Study the hieroglyphics, how they interpret it. They try to compare it with the Hebrew. So, as a member of Marifado Family Network, which is an international network of mainly black and brown people, and those sympathetic to Afrocentric ideology, studying Hamit and understanding that you are a Hamitician becomes a must. Otherwise, you will not know that you have been called by the ancestors and crowned by them gods. Now, there are other many reasons why you should be an Afrocentric. We can't go into the details and chop them bit by bit. This requires a lot of time. Number one reason is you escape historical erasure. Afrocentric thought challenges the marginalization and omission of African contribution to world history, science, philosophy, and culture. You also counter European bias. Dominant academic and cultural narratives have often been shaped by Eurocentric perspectives that devalue or distort African experiences. Afrocentricity offers a corrective lens. So if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Jew, if you're a Torah observant Jew, and you're a black person and you do not understand Afrocentric thinking and accept it, you are gone. Because you cannot affirm your identity and agency. You cannot promote cultural self-worth. You will be promoting European and Arabic cultural worth. That's why you go to Mecca and you don't go to Hamid, to the pyramids. So Afrocentricism also promotes cultural self-worth, encourages diversity of epistemologies, supports decolonization of knowledge, strengthens global solidarity. And the last one, which is very, very important, but not the least one here, ability to perform mystical realities. Study our mysteries. If you are interested in number 8 here, ability to perform mystical realities, you are welcome to send us an email on Bantu Melanin University Admissions here at proton.me, or visit our website, or get in touch with our phones that are being shown in the description for us to study inherent Afro-salvation mystic power. I am Hamaneja Topi, Preacher Rabbi L.M. Dumizu Kunikadi Mjaganja, a member of Marifado Family Network, saying thank you very much for watching, for liking, for subscribing and commenting. Share this video to as many people as possible. Till we meet again, remember, on this topic we have just not scratched even its surface. There is more. Keep in touch, keep watching, click that button. Thank you. Have a great day.